be dismissed from Her Royal Highness's circle." "Damned hypocrite," Michael observed. "I could not agree more, old boy. But that is how it's done these days, and you can be sure that the Randalls know it. You had better watch out." "I don't know what you mean," Michael replied uncomfortably. "Oh, yes, you do. Lady Alice has been trying to get her pretty little claws into you for some time." "Well, she hasn't succeeded." "My point exactly. She's becoming frustrated. So are her parents, and frustration breeds ideas." "Damn it, Win. I've a good mind to jump out of this cab and run for it." "Too late. You have formally accepted the invitation, and we're nearly there." Michael groaned, but it was true. The hansom cab was drawing up in front of a house which was brilliantly lit in every window. From inside came the sound of music, and the large front door was open as a stream of gorgeously dressed guests entered, to be received by a punctilious butler. Their hosts greeted them with delight. Michael responded with the right words, but he was already looking around apprehensively for the Randall family. And as soon as he entered the ballroom, he noticed Lady Alice Randall. She immediately ran towards him and put her hand on his arm. "I'm so glad you have come," she gushed. "All the other men are so boring. I was just hoping you would be here, and we could dance together." "Of course we can," Michael agreed politely. He saw her eyes turned up to him. He thought they were dangerous. They told him without words what she wanted. The next moment she had slipped her hand into his. He knew the gesture would not go unnoticed by a great number of guests present, who were the worst gossips in the whole of Mayfair. "You are so late," she sighed. "I thought you had forgotten about me." "Of course I had not forgotten you," he replied, knowing it was expected of him. He was, in fact, wondering how he could prevent her from holding so tightly onto his arm and moving closer and closer to him. She was very pretty, but not exactly a debutante, as she had been out in society for 2 years. But he recognized that she had set her cap at him, and it was impossible for him to avoid her. She turned up at every party he attended. She always had something to tell him which would mean her holding on to his arm and talking to him in a way which made it difficult for him to move away. He had hoped that tonight she would not be so clinging, as the focus of attention should be on the engaged couple. It was, however, quite obvious that Alice had no intention of leaving him. "Do come and see James and Laura," she urged. "They are so happy. Isn't it just the most delightful thing in the world to see a happy engaged couple?" His mouth felt dry. "Delightful," he muttered. As they walked down the room, Michael was aware that a great number of eyes would be watching them. The chaperones would know if, after so many trials which had failed, his heart had been captured by Alice. When they reached the happy couple, Michael recognized that his worst fears had been realized. Viscount Allerton looked like a turkey trussed for the slaughter. His bride, who normally looked belligerent and ill-natured, now looked belligerent and triumphant. Then there was a tug on Michael's arm, and he realized that Alice was still standing there. He had almost forgotten her existence. But now he felt annoyed that she was more or less forcing herself upon him, and behaving as if he belonged to her, and owed her his entire attention. He forced a smile to his face. He had an uncomfortable feeling that it must mirror Viscount Allerton's. The music was playing. Firmly Alice pulled him away. "I want to dance with you," she said. "I have been waiting far too long." "There are plenty of other men with whom you could dance," Michael suggested hopefully. "But I only want you," Alice whispered. "You dance so divinely and are so different from anyone else. When I am in your arms, I feel as if we are dancing up into the sky, amongst the stars." There was a note in her voice which made Michael stiffen. "How nice," he said lamely, inwardly praying for something to save him. Against all odds, something did happen. There was a little commotion in the crowd. The musicians fell silent. The dancers moved aside to make a space as a voice from the door boomed, "His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales." The next moment, a very large man appeared. He was in his late 30s, with a fleshy, self-indulgent face, only partly hidden by a beard. More self-indulgence showed in his girth, and his hair was growing thin. But he possessed